I didn't know this. I don't think a lot of people know this. The idea, I'll be happy when, is a dangerous pitfall to live each day waiting for something or someone that's going to make me happy. You're going to wait a long time. It comes from within us, not because of things and how things equal status and status equals worthiness.
In today's episode, our guest is Andrew Levander, a licensed marriage and family therapist and master's addictions counselor whose extensive certifications include cognitive behavioral therapy and internet addiction. With over 25 years of experience, Andrew has guided thousands of individuals, including celebrities, athletes, and politicians, through their mental health journeys. Our focus today is on a cornerstone of mental health and personal growth, self-worth. Andrew will share his expert insights on the transformative power of self-worth, discussing how cultivating a strong sense of worthiness can help individuals overcome challenges and build emotional resilience. Hi, Andrew. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So, to start off, can you share with us what initially drew you to the field of mental health and addiction counseling?
I got the idea of wanting to be a therapist when I saw my first therapist when I was 15 years old. Um, my uh, my life was a mess. I think other people around me saw it more than I did. My mother said one night after dinner, let's go shopping. Um, and instead of shopping, we ended up in a therapist parking lot. And so I was kind of tricked into going to therapy. But one of the best things that my mother ever gave to me and did for me. And I remember thinking when I was 15, this is your job. You just try to help people. And I remember being fascinated that you can do that as a grown up for a job. And it's also true that I didn't know if I would be alive by the time. I don't know if I would. I didn't know if I would make it to adulthood. But if I did, I was destined to be a therapist. And I survived my childhood. That's what drew me to it originally. I think they say that most of us therapists have, um, a story of our own, and there's a reason why we get to, I guess, one side of the couch versus the other. And most of us start on the client side. I suppose a sad childhood story that needed to be talked about. I just didn't know how to do that for myself. So thankfully, I had the help of a concerned parent, so that I could talk it out, because God knows I was acting it out.
Yes, I can totally understand. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. How much do you think our childhood affects how we are as adults?
I think that our childhood has a larger percentage to do with who we are as grown-ups. My wife, who is a therapist as well, this is where I normally would say, you can imagine how screwed up our kids are. But we specifically didn't do that thing, like, how did it make you feel when your sister hit you? We didn't. We didn't raise our kids being our clients. My wife tends to think that there's more organicity or more biology behind who we end up being, and I think that there's more of our childhood experiences, individually and collectively, from generational influences, traumas that maybe our parents went through, and either did or did not process in their own lives, impacts the way that they parent. And so I think that we are largely influenced by the childhoods of the generations that come before us.
What do you find are the most common subconscious patterns from our childhood that get instilled in us?
What a great question. I love this saying. Um, that we learn to value ourselves through the eyes of the people who loved us first. If we look at that for a second, if the eyes of the people who love us first are traumatized, whatever the case may be, are they intoxicated eyes? Are they challenging, critiquing, criticizing? There's a million possibilities. And so I think that how we learn to view ourselves comes directly from the messages that we are given, both verbally and non-verbally, in the environments that we grew up from. We have the family rules, and some of them are spoken and some of them are unspoken. And those rules are incredibly powerful, and I think influence us forever, and impact the way that we ourselves parent. For example, I, I don't really remember this, but I can see something like this happening. I say something as a kid, and I get that look from my mom, let's say, and I think most of us can relate to what that look is, and that's nonverbal. It stopped me in my tracks every time, and there was a powerful learning experience that happened that first time I got that look. What's really interesting is if whatever we interpret the look to mean becomes true. And if we don't clarify our interpretation of what that look meant, we can spend the rest of our lives and do spend the rest of our lives thinking that we were right. And so our relationship styles and the way we are in the world is possibly founded upon a misunderstanding of what that nonverbal communication was really about. This is what I love about psychotherapy and our brains and the power of words and people's affect and what they look like. And yeah, it's incredible.
It's interesting how you point out nonverbal cues as well, and you can only see a specific lens.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I also think that the color of the individual lenses that we each use, well, it's going to be different for everybody based on the person's lens that you happen to be talking to, or we just all experience something different. They say that no child, if you have siblings, that we each are born into a different family, that we each child gets a different parent. It makes sense now as an adult and being a therapist for 25 years, how every child in the family system, they're all different because they got a different version of mom and dad.
Hey guys, I would like to take a moment to introduce you to our app, Yoga Plus. You will have access to an incredible selection of videos led by top instructors in yoga, fitness, nutrition, and so much more. Download our Yoga Plus app available on iOS and Android today.